agenda first?
Okay. There you go.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the April 28th public meeting of the Citizens Police Review Board. This evening we have quorum, so we're going to call this meeting to order. And if we can, due to some time limitations, if we can move the agenda, if everybody's okay with that, that we call it to order and then we do the case reviews.
Yes,
Do we have a motion?
yes, I'll make a motion to adjust the tonight's agenda to cover the case reviews first on the agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alrighty, so without further ado, what we're going to do is the case studies, the chair's, the executive committee's report, and we'll go from there. So we have the case reviews. Alrighty, we have 2 reviews for full investigation. That's 028-26 and 030-26 ED. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. We now have 3 for 30-day extension. That is 015-26 and 018-26 ED. Do I have a motion?
Just one more.
Oh, 027-26 ED. And that's it, right? That's 3 of them?
Yep. I'll make the
Okay.
motion.
Thank you.
I'll second. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We have 3 that are unfounded. Case 037-25 ED, case 011-26, and 031-26 ED. Do I have a motion?
I'll make
I'll
the
make
motion.
the motion.
All right, we got a first and a second there. Discussion?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We have 2 other. Wait, did I skip something? Oh, unsustainable. Sorry. We got 3 unsustainables. 169-24, case 002-25 ED, and case 208-25. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, we got a first. How about a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear no opposition. Passes. And then we have 2 other for others. And that is case 177-21 and case 127-25. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to dismiss those.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 And we have 4 for suspension. It's 207-25, 216-25, 223-25, and 012-26. Do I have a, and 012-26. Yes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we got a first and a second there. Thanks, Stella. We got you for the second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Opposed? The ayes have it. And I believe that is it for our case studies. So without further ado, Beth, would you like to give your report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members, for adjusting the agenda. This way, our investigators can just keep moving on, and the people who are complainants and the accused will be served. Our intake so far is 44 complaints. And tonight we have, before I go on the other incidental information for you, we have a guest. So rather than keeping our guest waiting, and Dr. Gershio, so you'll be here for that presentation, I want to introduce Robert Lawler, who is he is the chair of the Legal Redress Committee for the local NAACP Pittsburgh unit. In the bylaws of the NAACP, one of the standing committees is the Legal Redress Committee, and their charge is to receive and investigate complaints of incidents that may suggest the violation of civil rights or other civil inequities that would fall under the rubric of a legal concern. And if there are lawsuits, that they can monitor those lawsuits that involve discrimination or inequities. They do not, however, provide legal advice. And you're familiar, I'm sure, where there are occasions where the NAACP will, in fact, be a lead plaintiff in a case. And the local chapter, if they're the ones filing, this chairperson would be monitoring that, the progress of that case. So Mr. Lawler did ask to come and speak to you, and it was an opportunity we were able to avail ourselves of for this meeting. So Mr. Lawler, thank you for coming tonight, and please go ahead and visit. Let us know what you would like us to do to support your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Ms. Pittinger. It's been a pleasure so far to hear how you all kind of operate, and kind of honestly the similarities and meeting style so far between your organization and the NAACP. All I'm really here to do is observe, learn, and then ask questions. Like that is my whole thing. What I want to do is I want to be able to report out to our members what is happening, specifically in terms of kind of like the independent reviews that police matters may go through. And I want to utilize you all and your organization and your process as a resource for our members, as a way for them to, say, combat injustice and inequality that they may face in a system that, for some of them, has historically discriminated against them. So I look forward to just being here and taking advantage of this opportunity now. So thank you again.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mr. Lawler, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have pursuant to this meeting. I would like to share with you that the board has had a very positive relationship with the Pittsburgh unit of NAACP. Over the many, many years that the board's been here, it'll be 30 years next year that this board has existed and been receiving and investigating complaints independent of the city of Pittsburgh, but related to police conduct. Mm-hmm. The history, the history of our relationship with the chapter is it flows with the history of the chapter itself. For many, many years, we had a very good rapport with the committees chair, I mean, Harvey Adams, coming up through Mr. Stewart's stewardship of the unit. And then there was some change or reorganizations along the way. All of those things also affected the relationship that the board and the chapter had in terms of sharing resources or backing each other up in a way, in a sense that we were able to support each other. When a complaint would come into the unit, to the chapter, it would often refer it back to us to conduct the independent investigation that we're chartered to do. That hasn't happened in years. So I would invite you to consider us as the independent resource available to your members. When they do have a question or a complaint related to police conduct, our jurisdiction is the City of Pittsburgh's Bureau of Police. There are about 15 other agencies, law enforcement agencies operating in the city. Our jurisdiction is limited to City of Pittsburgh police officers. That doesn't mean that we aren't paying attention to the influence of those other agencies on the Pittsburgh police and vice versa, because the board does have the authority to investigate and take under consideration systemic issues related to law enforcement in general in the city of Pittsburgh, as long as there's a connection to the Pittsburgh Bureau. And that means everything from recruitment to training to the hiring process itself, to the enforcement actions and enforcement policies and procedures, and retention of officers, and so on and so forth. It's not limited strictly to individual complaints of police conduct. And if in fact there is a finding that gets through the process and ends up that a public hearing is warranted, then that public hearing is conducted in public. It's an adversarial process, but the individual does not bring their own attorney. It's conducted very similar to the process of a grand jury, where our board members serve as the fact finders, and the issue itself is presented by a special prosecutor on behalf of the individual and the facts that they bring to the table, and the officer who is accused of misconduct is represented by a lawyer provided by the FOP, their union. So it can be involved, but it's also very clearly not the parameters in which the board operates and our investigators conduct their business. It's a very formal process. We're not an activist group. We cannot be an activist group. We cannot demonstrate any particular bias one way or another to maintain the credibility that this board has maintained for the last 30 years. So any questions, though, and how we may be of assistance to your members, we stand ready to support anything that is consistent with the mission outlined in the Home Rule Charter for this Independent Citizen Police Review Board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, does anybody have any other comment or question for Mr. Lawler before he leaves, or I start to talk again?
No, but thank you for joining us. We appreciate your presence. If there are no other questions, Beth, if you want to continue, that'd be
Yes,
great.
thank you. Yeah. Well, as we all know, we've just come through a rather historic moment with the NFL draft being hosted here in the city of Pittsburgh, where there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of anticipation as to what that would mean, what kind of impact that would have on the city. Department of Public Safety worked tirelessly in preparation for this event. They released a report the other day, and actually I think it's their official report. I guess that could change, but anyway, preliminarily, they're estimating 805,000 people came through with the NFL draft downtown. A remarkable number. I understand it is a record set for the draft event itself. And of that 805,000 people, our police arrested approximately 20 people, only two, that were within the draft zone itself. The other 18 were in the immediate vicinity in the general area, but were not in the zone, the NFL draft event zone itself, which is remarkable. The EMS, they were running their tails off. They were very, very busy. 229 calls, I believe they said, and only 45 people were taken to the hospital. It's remarkable. The security was coordinated. A number of other jurisdictions came and supported the effort. For example, down at Point State Park, it is a state park, and the Pennsylvania State Police took jurisdiction and control of that area. City of Pittsburgh Police did not patrol or engage in Point State Park. The multiple jurisdictions, they all had been meeting for the last year. I'm understanding like maybe up to 8 times a week. I mean, they were really, really, really focused on trying to plan for every potentiality. And fortunately, nothing significant happened. It went off beautifully and showcased the city of Pittsburgh. And hopefully we'll have some return. Maybe, businesses will realize that we're a good place to come. And as our mayor is saying, it's a great place to raise a family. And we hosted 800,000 people. That's awesome. And maybe that'll bring some renewal. We have also a reminder that the statement of financial interest is due by Friday. I know that Stephanie has been very diligent in reminding us about filing that. So please get it filed if you have to file it. And I think, the solicitor's contract. The solicitor's contract is I don't know, Mr. Wright, I don't know that it came to you for signature yet, but that's the last stage now. We're approved by council. It's all good. So we're going to have Mr. Wright serving as solicitor through 2028. And I think that might actually, we're waiting for a date to meet with the solicitor about the access to the body worn camera video, as well as other material that's necessary for our investigators to conduct their work. There was a high profile incident that happened in Zone 5 that caught some controversy in the last couple of weeks. I think it happened back on April 15th. There was an arrest. I think, Ms. Hunt, you have that case. Members, this is still under review. We are not aware whether or not there's any kind of criminal culpability here. It was referred to another agency for review. I believe the city sent it to the Pennsylvania State Police, which I don't quite understand, but for their use of force expert to review the action of the officer involved. So that means until that's been finalized and there's no criminal issue here, we have to stand down. But Ms. Hunt has prepared and looked at it preliminarily, and I can ask Tiffany, can you just apprise the board of the status of that case, please?
It's exactly what you said. There was an arrest. She was arrested for, hold on, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and I believe some a drug charge, because they had drug paraphernalia. So this incident occurred in Zone 5. 2 people were, I guess, loitering behind an abandoned building. When they were approached by the officers, she attempted to run from the officers. And right now we just have hearsay that, she attempted to bite the officer. She was biting at him, clawing at his legs, and which is why he struck her in the face. Well, that's what he says. So right now, that's where we're at. We're going to wait for Pennsylvania State Police to conduct their investigation. And then we can, we're going to submit a right to know as well. And we should have some information for you, hopefully, for next month.
Thank you, Tiffany. Anybody have any questions for Tiffany?
or anything you want me to do or look into? Any suggestions? All right, thank you.
It sounds like you're on top of it, Tiff, so if you need us, we're here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I did have one question. I'm sorry. You said the state police are investigating that?
The use of force, typically an incident that involves questionable conduct by a city of Pittsburgh police officer is referred out, particularly use of force that ends up in death or serious bodily injury. It goes to an outside agency. It has been traditionally Allegheny County PD.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from the chief about detail on that because I don't fully understand that. But it has been said again in another report I saw that it went out to the Pennsylvania State Police for a use of force expert to review the officer's reaction to this encounter with this person. I don't know why it went to the state police.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if that's the new arrangement. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
can't answer that. I'm
Okay.
There's another issue too that I want to learn more about, and that has to do with this video going around on social media that presents a rather unbecoming engagement between police officer and a known activist. And it's related to characterizing the activity of young people in Market Square as being unwelcome and inappropriate, that the events that were going on over the weekend in Market Square were for adults only. It's again, it's an unbecoming engagement with this officer. Don't know what he was thinking. I know that it's under review internally. So as soon as we know more definitively about that, I'll certainly let you know. But I know that was another controversial incident that did pop up in the last couple of weeks. And lastly, well, two other things. Mayor O'Connor was advised of the vacancy of Mr. Williams' seat, and we would expect to hear something to go to council by the end of some middle of May. And as soon as we hear that there's been a candidate sent to council for consent, then we'll let you know, and hopefully we will have someone seated by your next meeting, or at least by the June meeting. And the June meeting is going to be in the community in the north side at the Letter Carrier Hall, which is at 841 make sure 841 California Avenue.
Beth, is that our May or June meeting?
841 Letter. I'm sorry, what?
Is that our May or June meeting in California Avenue?
June.
Okay.
It's in June. I'm just saying it now so that if anybody wants to make note of it, we're going to be over in the north side in June. And then the last issue for you, that Dr. Gershio wants to schedule a meeting with the mayor. We're trying to arrange dates for that. As soon as we have that date scheduled, we'll share that with everybody. But it will be it's a general meet and greet kind of a meeting. Ms. Hunt mentioned that we were also pursuing a right to know process, and that is because you may recall another controversial incident that happened where there were a number of officers involved or observing or somewhere in the vicinity of an ICE action. The video was released of them, and then those officers were doxxed and created another dangerous situation for a lot of people. And for the sake of the record, we get into this private retaliation for public acts discussion and debate, and really, if an officer does something, they need to be held accountable within their professional area. It's not something that should be put upon their family or their neighborhood. That's the difference. When you're a public official, your accountability is a public act. It does not belong in your neighborhood. We saw a lot of that back in the George Floyd days, where there was a lot of protests going on at the mayor's residence. And that created an awful lot of disruption in that local neighborhood. So anyway, with this video that was released, it was determined that the district attorney's office released that video, body-worn camera video. Well, we've been told time and time and time and time again about the district attorney's control over the body-worn camera video created by our officers. So it's Pittsburgh owns that video. They have delegated control and release of that video for what's supposed to be protected information under the Criminal History and Record Information Act, meaning that it's investigative material and it has to be preserved. Now, whether we agree with that or not, different discussion, different day, but that video, as it stands in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania right now, can be preserved as evidence and withheld from public view. City of Pittsburgh has had the discretion to enter into an agreement with the district attorney's office to control the access to those videos. And this agreement was signed in 2017, right after the state passed the statute that restricted access to body-worn camera video. But a couple of weeks ago, the DA released this to an activist group. That activist group then provided that on social media and then identified officers that were in the videos. And it just created a whole other set of issues. But for our purposes, what it said was, oh, body-worn camera video can be released. We tried that once, and it was several hundreds of dollars that it would require us to pay the district attorney's office to give us the snips of body-worn camera video that we required for an investigation. And of course, the city said, we can't do it. We can't give it to you, but you go talk to the district attorney. And that's what we did. And it turned out that it was not feasible for a couple of reasons. And namely, the taxpayer shouldn't have to pay for this twice or three times or whatever. But we didn't get the video then because we couldn't afford it. We could spend the money, but it would not be a responsible expenditure of money. So Ms. Hunt, our investigative staff said, let's try this. Let's try that again and see where it leads us. Will we be able to obtain the specific video that we need to finish this investigation completely objectively? By obtaining that video, will they release it to us? So that's the route we're taking, but not in lieu of pursuing with the city solicitor and the Department of Public Safety and the chief of police establishment of a protocol that will enable our investigators to view, as they used to, the relevant body-worn camera video for investigations that they're conducting. Remember, they used to be able to see this stuff. And this last administration said, no, you're not going to see it anymore. And they prohibited that observation. So we had a lot that we lost in the last 4 years. So we need to rebuild that and hopefully rebuild it in a way that can sustain administrative changes and that will enable the future of this board to conduct their investigations in a comprehensive manner without regard to artificial obstructions that can really affect the quality of investigation that you end up with. So Mr. Wright and I and City Solicitor Marcus, we're trying to establish a meeting time and we'll go from there. And remember, the board has an extensive litigation history and a lot of reinforcement of the authority and the powers that the charter bestowed upon the board that were reinforced by the courts. So we need to bring this solicitor's office up to speed on that and also establish this protocol. So we're going to see what happens with the regular routine right to know request, and we're going to work on getting the protocol in place so that that material that our investigators need will be unfettered and they'll have unfettered access to it. I think that's it, unless you have questions for me. I have no more.
Anybody have any questions for the director? All right, thank you, Director Pittenger. Appreciate
Thank you,
you and
Mr.
your report. And interesting to see
you.
some of the follow-ups next month.
Yep, thank you.
All right, and we pull up the agenda here real quick. And we covered most of the stuff, but we're altered some things. Do we have any unfinished business? And any old business? And do we have any new business this month? All right, seeing no new business. We already completed the case review at the top of the meeting. So I guess at this point, we'll share that our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 26th, 6 p.m. via Zoom. You can see on our agenda, our minutes and recordings are posted on our website. And yeah, I think at this point, do we have any public comment?
Nothing in the audience. Tristan and Marker in the audience.
All right. Well, that seems like we've gone through our agenda, and without anything else, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have anybody else
Need a
left?
second.
I will second, if I can. I mean, I guess we technically don't have a quorum at this point, right?
That's correct. You've lost
We have
quorum,
we have to stay in the meeting in perpetuity.
at least until May 26th.
All right. Yeah, so we don't have a quorum to vote on it, but I think it's safe to say we can adjourn tonight. We have no other comments. We have no other business. And I guess we will thank everybody for coming out again, and we'll see you all next month.